This isn't technology based, but I want to share something I have found to really work in my classrooms, and it's called La Persona Especial. I did not create it. I don't know if you're familiar with Bryce Hedstrom and his website, brycehedstrom.com. This is a free resource he has on his website. I just downloaded it and modified it, like we all do. So I started doing La Persona Especial in my conversational Spanish class last year. Basically, every day, or most days, I ask the students these questions. For conversational Spanish, it's a little different. So my conversational 1 Spanish is, ¿Cómo te llamas? You know, what's your name? How old are you? Where are you from? What do you like to do? Interesting talent? Favorite movie? Are you afraid of anything? And how do you help other people? So I did that all year last year. And then when Spanish 1 started this year, when we had our first writing, I had some beautiful essays turned in. Just gorgeous. And I went to those particular people and I said, how did you do this? I didn't teach you this in class. Are you studying outside of class? Are you, I don't know, Duolingo? How did this happen? And they said, well, we know all of this stuff because you did the special person last year and you repeated it 1,000,000 times. They said it just stuck in our heads. I'm like, oh, okay. I need to start this with my Spanish 1 students. So I started it early October this year, beginning of chapter 2. They were very excited about it. This takes, the way I do it, takes about 5 to 8 minutes at the beginning of class. And it helps me get to know them, some of the benefits, right? So I get to know them. It helps me remember their names. It also creates a better community in the class. They're not just in there to learn Spanish and leave. Now they're feeling more like a family, feeling more comfortable and ready to learn. So here's what I ask my Spanish 1 students. Again, what's your name? Because sometimes they still don't know how to answer that. And this also helps you find your barometer students, because just the other day I asked somebody, ¿Cómo te llamas? And he looked at me and he said, bien. I'm like, huh, okay. Well, I'm feeling good too. I'm glad you are. But let's look at the question I actually asked you, and I can point to the board and just work with them a little bit. ¿Cómo eres? They get that mixed up a lot in Spanish. Do you have any siblings? Because I want them to get used to seeing tengo versus tiene. What do you like to do? So here they're using, the I like. This is a good thing to know for them. Do you have an interesting talent? Here we have puedo, right? That can be difficult for Spanish speakers. Plus it's really interesting what they say their talent is. My talent, they've decided, is giving tests and quizzes. So I'm known as the quiz teacher. Favorite class? Again, just practice with different types of question words, that likes and dislikes. Are you afraid of anything? And here we kind of go over how in English it's are you afraid, whereas in Spanish it's do you have fear? Get a little future tense in. So after school, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to, he or she goes to, right? She goes to soccer practice. And then in the future, what would you like to be? I want to be, he or she wants to be. And I kind of compare that with other students just really quickly. So, okay, Sammy's afraid of, Sammy, has fear of heights. What is Melissa afraid of? What is Simon afraid of? Just really quickly. Then the next day, I show this. So the questions that you saw, I actually ask second. This is what they see at the beginning of class. So, close that vote present. We go over it. I read this to them in Spanish, and then we karaoke it in English. So as a class, we'll say, yesterday, the person special was Matt. He is a boy and good looking. He has 1 sister and 0 brothers. That way they get to see all these words. He has fear. After school, he's going to. In the future, he wants to be. It just really seems to help them understand some of the basics that they kind of miss out on by the end of the year or over the summer. They seem to forget these basics, like me gusta, le gusta. And they really like it. But again, sometimes it's hard. It does take me 5 to 8 minutes per class, but I think it's worth it. Thanks for listening.